Okay.
BP7. I got a cold, so
That's okay.
you're gonna hear me wheezing over the microphone.
Little wheezy.
I'm gonna sound like Bane.
Yeah. You think darkness is your ally.
Yeah. All
BP7
right.
coming at you.
What you got today?
Pop quiz, hot shot. All right, so I had this thought a while back. If people had to play Russian roulette for their birthday, do you think they would live their lives differently?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. You would prioritize family
Yeah.
and probably friends too. But I think you would also work harder on projects.
Mm-hmm.
Things like we're doing now, making a podcast. I think people would take it absolutely seriously because your very next birthday, that could be it. You want to get everything done. I think there'd be more millionaires. I think there'd be less divorce. People would treat their kids better.
I'll tell you this much. We wouldn't have such a big problem with population. No, I'm just... It's all messed up, dude.
We'd have a worse population problem.
Yeah. People would be like,
I want to have as many kids as I can before I die.
can you imagine just hearing the click, like after you do it, you're like, oh, and then like you snap out of it like 5 hours later.
You just get done calling your wife.
And then you're like, hold on, I got to get started living right now. What are we going to do this year, guys? Like, it better be worth my time.
You tell your wife, so long, bitch. And then click. And you're like, oh, God dang it. That's all messed up.
You know what else I was thinking? I think it would be a national or global like thing where an event where people would be like, hey, it's Mark's birthday today, or it's everyone's birthday today.
Shit.
Let's tune in, see what, see who makes the cut.
Yeah, you do like a live stream.
Yeah,
It's a big old deal. It's a live stream to see if you blow your head off or not.
And then
there's announcers going through your year.
Mm-hmm.
How much of an asshole you've been.
Right? And be like, what did Mark Summers do this year?
Let's go through his highlights and his lowlights.
They're like, oh, he could have done that better. Well, let's see if he lives to play another year.
That'd actually be a good movie idea.
I know. I just thought of that
That'd
too.
be
I was
a
like,
genius movie idea. I would watch it.
now I'm feeling like I don't even want to post this because I don't want people to get any
It's
ideas.
called Birthday Roulette.
Damn it.
Well, we have proof that we came up with it first.
That's true. That's true.
Oh,
I came up with it. Okay, I didn't hear it from anybody else. All right,
That would be a great movie. That's about as fucked up as what's the movie where that one day a year everybody gets to kill each other?
The Purge.
The Purge.
Yeah.
I think it would be as fucked up as The Purge.
It really would be, man.
There's so many directions you can go with
Be
it.
savage, dude. Yeah, because you know what? I was watching Deer Hunter. I think that's where the original thought came in. Because they have I don't know if you've seen that movie. Have you seen The Deer Hunter?
No.
Okay. So it's a Vietnam flick. It's a long one, too. It's like 2 hours long. But there is this one scene where it's all these friends from the same small town. They get drafted in the Vietnam War. They become prisoners of war. While they're in this prison camp, the NVA are making them play Russian roulette against each other, like two people at a time. And they're putting bets on who's gonna die, who's gonna live. And yeah.
Who's the NVA?
The North Vietnamese Army.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So
that would be a good movie if that came out.
So anyways, in that movie, after they get out of the prison camp or whatever, they go back home. None of them are the same. They're all messed up on PTSD, as you can imagine. All of them, right? Because they all had to play this stupid game and they survived. But like some of them, like one of them, well, I don't want to ruin it for everyone, but they survive. They have PTSD and they like playing Russian roulette. Bottom line, that's
afterwards. They like playing.
Yeah,
that is.
I don't know if they like it or maybe they just feel alive or they're addicted to the adrenaline rush. That's probably what it is.
That's funny because a lot of guys after Operation Iraqi Freedom in Afghanistan, I think it's in the movie The American Sniper too that you're just bored. Like after the war and all that danger, you're so used to always watching your back.
Yeah.
You're just bored and you're like signing up to go back on another tour.
No, that's
So,
true. Because
I think it's something like that maybe. Like you're addicted to that stress.
yeah, I think that's what it is. Because afterwards, you become numb to everything. It's hard for you to feel feelings of enjoyment or happiness, and really, you can only feel like the fear. But like,
So it's like similar to an insane dopamine rush, I guess.
yeah,
Dudes get from watching insane porn. You're getting a crazy adrenaline rush from it that
Yeah.
you can no longer replicate that unless you're playing Russian roulette.
yeah. So, anyways, yeah, I thought of that. That one thought came from that movie scene, or the movie, I should say.
It's nuts. Next question.
You give me one.
Why do you think most people are broke? So statistics show that 70 something percent of Americans have less than $2,000 in their savings account. Like 80% of people can have a $500 emergency come up and they don't have the money to cover it. Why do you think that is?
I feel that, I mean, it's a combination of things, honestly. But if you wanted to get down to the choices that people make, individual choices, I feel that it's because of convenience. Convenience and responsibility. You're trying to balance all these things, you know? The convenience thing is if you're working, now it's beyond 8 hours, right? It's more like 10 hours, 12 hours now. You don't really have time to cook your food or work out. So you end up going to work, you eat for the small 30 minutes to an hour that they give you, and then you go home. By the time you go home, you're too tired to go grocery shopping, making something to eat, working out. And so it's very easy to just sit on the couch, relax until the next day, and then just do it all over again. So that's what I feel it is.
Okay. It's a good answer. Do you think it has anything to do with some type of conspiracy that the education system is deliberately trying to prevent people from getting rich?
For
or
sure.
Keeping you broke? You think so?
For sure. Like I didn't really want to bring that up, but because I thought we were going to get down to just like individual choices, but for sure the system, the way everything is constructed around common folk. And when I'm talking about common folk, I'm talking about people that weren't born into money. So the wealthy and the powerful already have their world constructed. They really don't have to do much if you're born into that, you can pretty much do whatever you want and you can fuck up whatever. I mean, you can mess up whatever. It doesn't matter because you're pretty much set for generations to come.
I kind of have a little bit of a different mindset. I think in today's day and age, for the most part, I think no matter where you're born or where you come from, as long as you can see, you can hear, you have both arms, both feet, you don't really have anything physically holding you back, and you can read. I guess that's a big part of it. Then once you reach a certain age and you're able to start thinking for yourself and you have a little bit of independence and freedom, it's on you from then. You can't be 50 years old, 55, saying, oh, well, I'm broke because my family was broke and poor. You can't do that anymore. Once you reach your 20s and you're independent, it's on you to start self-educating yourself, reading books, learning, making money, knowing how to have self-control, self-discipline. I think a lot of people are broke because poor financial habits are passed down from family to family. And it's not getting corrected. I do think that the education system isn't teaching people. I mean, they're definitely not teaching people how to be rich. There are certain fundamentals and things that if people learned, they have a better chance of becoming rich, financially independent the rest of their lives. But it's not being taught in school. And I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's because the people coming up with the curriculum, they don't know the information themselves. And if they did, number one, they wouldn't be on the school board coming up with curriculums, right?
Right.
They'd be off on a yacht somewhere. But the people coming up with that don't know the information. So it's a mixture of bad information and laziness and a lack of self-discipline on people's part. And also, I think it's because companies deliberately cater to broke people because they understand their mindset and what they respond to and how they emotionally respond to things. So they design their advertisements to emotionally trigger these people because they know if you emotionally trigger someone who has poor financial habits, that emotional trigger is going to make them go and spend their money. So it's like, how do we get inside their mind and make them spend money even though we know they don't have it?
Mm-hmm.
It's no coincidence there's liquor stores on every corner in poor neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Or there's more little convenience stores with slot machines in them in areas where legally gambling is legal, that they're deliberately targeting people who have poor self-control with money. You don't see liquor stores in rich neighborhoods. You don't see liquor stores on the corners. They deliberately target people. And a lot of people say, oh, they target poor people. They target people who they know have no self-control financially. And they know, it's easy to separate these idiots from their money. They have no self-control, no self-discipline. And this is what they spend their money on. They're alcoholics. They smoke a bunch of cigarettes. They do this. So, yeah, we know exactly where to put this store. We'll make a killing.
Yeah, so if I had to rephrase my answer, I would say conditioning for sure is the main reason why you don't see a whole lot of wealthy people. It's only a small percentage because those are the ones that are willing to go out and get it, find the answers, look for the knowledge, put in the work. That is why it is the way it is, because it's so easy to fall into that pit where you can just accept the way things are. And
I have a tangent question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe the entrepreneurial mindset to where you're just different? Do you believe it's you're just born with it, or you can learn it?
Oh, I think you can learn it for sure.
You think anybody can learn it?
Yeah, anyone can.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think for the most part, a lot of these people who become billionaires, I think they're just born that way. Like, let's look at like Donald Trump. He's just born that way. Like, nobody made him that way. He learned a few lessons from his dad, but just the way he behaves and thinks, that makes him money.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a bad example, but but I think for the most part, you can give 99% of people the correct information to become rich or to make more money or to fix their money problems. And I think 80% of them are going to ignore it, and they're going to continue doing what they're doing and complaining about their life. I think that's just the way it is, because all of the information you need to quit being broke is on the internet right now. It's in books. You can get on Amazon right now and order books to change your life. Why aren't people doing it? They're on TikTok, Instagram, taking pictures of their tits. So, it's weird.
I saw something, I want to say last month or so, but there's a statistic out there that shows that there's more millionaires now than there's ever been in the history of the world.
Yeah.
And I feel it's because of knowledge being readily available on this. And with AI, I feel like that number is going to increase as well. But is it going to be like earth-shattering where it's like 50-50? No, I don't think so.
But due to population increase, are there more broke people too? Are there more broke and homeless people? Right? So there may be more rich people ever in history, but there's probably more homeless and broke people too than ever in history, just because of population increase.
Yeah.
And because there's more traps and pitfalls now for you to waste your money on and ruin your life.
Here's another thing I believe too is, again, going back to old money, kind of like old money versus new money. If you were born into the old money, like I said, you don't really have to do a damn thing except just exist and enjoy the fruits of your ancestors' labors.
Overdose on drugs.
Mm-hmm. And when you came from nothing, make it to the top, and then you have your children, the one thing you can't pass on to them, and it's been shown, more times I care than I care to say, but it's been shown that you cannot pass down what you have learned in your life to get to that point to your kids. So that's why, even though you can make it to $1 million, a billionaire, or whatever, that's not to say, maybe your kids will still enjoy that, but who knows about your grandkids, and all this other stuff. So,
good point. It's like, show me a great man who is the son of a great man. Mm-hmm. Right? It's that saying. I think I've heard Joe Rogan say it, but it's true. So, all right, next question. What you got?
Next question is, does jail and prison actually help people?
Does it actually help people?
Mm-hmm.
No. Makes it worse. I mean, you become a product of your environment. So you're going to criminal school. If you think you're a good criminal, go to jail, you're going to learn how to become a better criminal. So I don't think it's a good idea. Right? If you need discipline and you need to be reformed, I don't think it's a good idea to put you in a population with people who are worse than you.
Mm-hmm.
You're just breeding more bullshit.
Yeah. And see, I actually studied this topic because I got my degree in criminal justice. And going to prison doesn't help anybody out. If anything, it's like trying to swim with a suit of armor on or something, or maybe a little bit less than that. But it can be almost like a death sentence to your social and your work life, because nobody's going to want to hire an ex-con. And
yeah, it's not fair.
People, as soon as people find out that you've been to prison, even if it's not prison, even if you've been to jail,
like county jail or
people already
state jail.
It's like they slap a label on you right then and there, and they don't really want
jailbird.
They don't really want to associate with you. So,
I think maybe 20 to. I think maybe I'm being generous, but 20 to 30% of people who are criminals have legit mental problems, right? Like something wrong with their brain. But as far as the other ones, I think it's just due to a lack of education. And when I say education, I mean education and manners, how to communicate with people, how to, for the most part, control your emotions, have anger management, self-management, because most crime is committed due to a lack of self-control and self-management. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so children aren't learning self-management and learning how to problem solve appropriately in the home as they're growing up because their parents don't learn it or their parents are absent, right? So it starts, of course, with your parents or your guardians provide you an education. Whether you want to call it an upbringing, it's an education because you are learning information and you are processing that information into how to behave as a civil person who doesn't harm other people, or you conduct yourself appropriately. Right. Best way to say it.
It's like on-the-job training.
So, right? Your upbringing is training. You're being trained how to be a normal person. So when you don't have that training growing up, you're fucked, right? For the most part. Because people say, oh, these people are idiots. They don't think about the information they're missing out of their brain. The people saying it have the information. They don't understand that your brain is just a computer that is programmed. That's all it is. So when you're missing that information, it's unfair to you. So they stick you in a population of people just like you who don't have that information. And I think that the jail and prison system would be better is if they isolate you. And of course, this costs lots more money and it's not a financially reasonable solution, although this day and age, somebody could come up with something. But if you're isolated and you're trained and you're given information and you're educated and then you're given enough time to allow that information to propagate and you're given time for you to process it and understand it and reflect on your behavior and to start to understand the error in your ways, I think a large percentage of criminals would actually be, quote unquote, reformed. Because reform is education. You can't reform somebody by sticking them in a jail cell with other crazy people in a extremely toxic and negative environment and expect you to come out with a positive mindset. So, no, it doesn't work at all. There's no way. I think it's another country, Sweden, or I'm not sure. But it's one of those countries over there, Norway, I think. That when you go to prison, it's like a 5-star, not a 5-star hotel, but it's like a country club. And it shows that it actually works because they give people balance in their lives. They give them peace.
It's like
a lot of
rehabilitation.
A lot of criminals don't have peace in their life. So they put them in a comfortable environment, number one. So because when you're comfortable, you're more peaceful. And then they give them education. They send them to classes. They teach them emotional control. They teach them communication, and they teach them just problem solving and strategy. And a large percentage of those people do not become repeat offenders because all that's missing is information out of your mind. I don't think we'll ever see a day in our lifetime where the prison and jail system actually gets that and they start doing it. There's just too many fucking people. But you have to start with the parents who aren't raising their kids right, because studies have shown majority of people who are criminals, they come from a poor, troubled household. So,
No, that's true. I wonder if whether it's Norway or whichever country you were just talking about, I wonder if they make the incarceration information on that person public, because
it'd be interesting, right?
Because I don't think they do. I mean, if it's that good, then...
Oh, you mean after they get out? Do they make it public that
no, I
they
mean,
were in
like
jail?
when they got arrested and stuff. Because I don't know if you've seen, especially here in Texas, you know, if you get even arrested for a DWI, they will post your picture.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think that's bullshit. Mm-hmm. I saw it on Fox News. It was like mugshots of the week, and they're basically making fun of these people.
Yeah, they're just parading them through the streets.
And I felt sorry for those people in a way, because some people are like, "Oh, they committed a crime. Fuck them." But there's another side of me that has empathy, and I think you don't know what's going on in this person's life. You don't know. Their parents could have just died. You don't know what's going on. They lost control of their drinking, and they had public intoxication. And you arrest them now, and you place their photo public, and it could have been that nobody at their job, their boss, nobody would have known about it. Now everybody knows about it, and they lost their job. Something not even related to their job. Yeah. So I don't think it's the best idea to publicly parade people. I think if you've been arrested 5 times for the same fucking thing, yeah. Because you clearly aren't learning your lesson.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's, you know, DWIs are... It's very easy to be behind the wheel when you've had even just, you know, one more than you should have had. It's very easy to fall
Doesn't
into
exactly
that.
Make you an evil person.
Yeah.
It's not a smart thing to do. It's dangerous.
At the same time, I don't want to downplay it because people have died from...
Exactly. My uncle died from a DWI.
So, but, you know, there's just like, for you to come maybe just barely over the limit and then be thrown in with that and have your picture posted, that's damning. Like,
yeah, I don't think that alcohol limit thing applies to 100% of people. There are some people who could go over that limit. They could function completely normally. So, but we're not going to debate that.
Yeah. Yeah, the stigma's real, though, when it comes to just being arrested.
Do you think jail and prison helps people in any way?
No.
You think it does the opposite? It makes them worse.
Uh-huh.
Do you think there's some kind of reason? Do you think there's a conspiracy behind that? Or it's just that we've never figured out a solution and we're using the same old methods and we're lazy as a society? I mean, it's not lazy if you're spending billions of dollars.
There's somebody receiving that money. That's where I come out.
I think it's lining some people's pockets.
For sure. Because there is no reason to keep these institutions packed to the gills with people that shouldn't even be there longer than, I don't even know, maybe not even there, period. Because you could just give them probation, for a lot of these things.
For a drug offense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You did some cocaine, you're doing 7 years in prison. It's a little crazy. Unless it's like I said, unless you've done it 4 or 5 times. But on your first offense, second offense, you don't know what's going on in that person's life, what was going on. I think it's a little harsh for stuff like that.
And the thing is, too, when you go there and you spend time there, you become a better criminal. All these people are becoming better criminals. So when they get out and on parole or whatever, a large chunk of them are going to commit crimes again, and they're going to do it better this time. And it's a revolving door, man.
Yeah, it's a solution that's not working.
Yeah, and the thing is too is another thing about it, and probably the main thing about it is I feel like a lot of people just don't give a shit or give up. They don't care.
So. I think so. Yeah, as long as they're off the streets, fuck it.
Yeah, and it's like nobody.
I don't think it's fair to them. I think a large percentage of people in jail and in prison are genuinely good people. They just didn't have a good education.
Yeah, rotten luck.
And like I said, education doesn't mean school. It means training and information being put in your brain to help you be a decent human being. I think those people were lacking. Some of them have just as much or more than we do, and they're just shitty people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a large percentage of them are genuinely good people. They got a bad break. They made mistakes. They shouldn't have to pay for the rest of their life with that. There should be some type of system put in place to measure who they are when they get out. And if they meet certain criteria, then you wipe their record clean as if it never happened and allow them to move on with their life instead of being a convicted felon the rest of their life.
It's a good movie that, I mean, it's very dramatic, but it drives the point home. This movie's called Shot Caller.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen it?
Yes.
What do you think about that movie? Because he got put in prison for exactly what we're talking about, DWI. He didn't really want to drive, but he was out with his girlfriend and 2 of his friends, right? And they were like, "You drive because you're the most sober one."
Prison turned him into a monster.
Yeah. Well, because he had no other choice.
He had to survive. He had to become that to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's cruel. That we're supposed to be a society that helps reform people. We're turning them into monsters. But really good movie, by the way.
Yeah.
It has, it's the brother from Game of Thrones. Yeah. It's Jaime Lannister. Jaime Lannister is the shot caller.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
So
what do you got for me?
What skills on kind of on the topic of people learning information that helps them become a decent person? What skills do you think prepare people for the future? And let's target this. Let's aim this towards people between age 15 to 21. What skills do you think is important for them to prepare for the future, to have a decent life ahead of them? What do they need to know?
I would say, I keep coming back to this, but it's a recent belief that I've adopted that I feel is important, and that is negotiating. I feel that it's a skill that has been lost or watered down or diluted, however you want to say it, from the previous generations to what it is today with Gen Z and even the younger generation, but after that. people have lost the ability to communicate with each other effectively. And the whole close-knit feeling of community, I feel, isn't there anymore. So I feel that if you want to get ahead of the herd, negotiating for sure, and really just a curious mind. Like if you always want to find information on things, learn things, I think if you have those two traits, that'll definitely.
What would be in your definition for somebody that's 15 to 21? What would be the herd? You mentioned the herd, getting ahead of the herd. What would be the herd?
15 to 21.
Well, yeah, if you're explaining this to a 15 to 21-year-old, you said get ahead of the herd. What if they have no idea what you mean by that? What do you mean by the herd?
I mean, just everybody in general. Like,
so to stand out from most people.
Yes.
That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So you mean like average, your average person making the average effort?
Yes.
Okay.
What about you, baby?
I think the problem I see that most people from 16 years old all the way up until they're 30 are having is lacking emotional control, number one, not knowing how to communicate effectively, not knowing how to have self-control. Emotional control is directly related to self-control because your behavior stems from what you're feeling, right? So most people act on their feelings and not their thoughts. There are very few people, they either like, oh, well, I feel like doing this right now, but they actually stop and say, but if I do this thing, it's going to affect me like this, and that would be fucking stupid, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this instead. Most people don't think like that, right? They say, oh, well, I'm bored. I feel like going out. I'm going to call Christy. Let's go out tonight. Let's go drink and get drunk, and then stupid shit ends up happening. They get a DWI, and they never would have been in that position, right? Had she just not acted on her feelings. Or let's say it, yeah. Yeah, let's say, or like somebody, what's another situation where somebody's acting on the way they feel? Somebody lives near a casino. I'll use myself, for example. When I was younger, I lived near a casino, and I would get bored, and I would go out and spend my money at a casino, right? And it was financially, it fucked me up financially for a while. So, because I was bored, that's an emotion. Oh, I'm bored. Oh, I'm bored. I want to get out of the house. I didn't have enough self-control to stay home and make myself useful doing something else. I wanted to get out of the house. And I didn't know nobody where I was, so I would just go to the casino. Drinking was free, so I would drink, and then I would play blackjack and other stupid games that the house has an advantage, and they just take your money. So I got myself in a lot of trouble. Controlling your emotions, communicating with other people, something I wish I would have learned when I was younger is that it's important to learn how to communicate with people and how to talk to people and elicit a response from them that is favorable to you. So there's a lot of books written on communication there, and it's important for people to educate themselves on that. I think a lot of marriages that end in divorce, if young people want to have successful marriages when they get older, they need to learn how to communicate. They need to learn how to control their emotions.
And negotiate.
Because a lot of people, their marriages fall apart because they're not in control of their emotions, right? So let's say the wife comes home and she's had a long day at work. She comes in, plops her purse on the counter, and she starts just going off, right? You can be husband A, that you just lose your mind. I'm trying to watch TV. I don't care what kind of day you had. I had a long day too. Right? Blows up into a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have husband B. He's watching TV and he hears her purse hit the counter and she starts going off. And he's like, in his mind, he's like, okay, something's wrong. And he looks in her direction. And within a couple of milliseconds, because he has emotional intelligence, and also communication can be defined into social intelligence. So because he has emotional intelligence and social intelligence, his brain processes, oh, she must have had a bad day and I'm her husband and she wants to vent. She doesn't mean anything personal against me. She's just a female. She's more emotional. She's had a bad day. And if I respond negatively, it's going to turn into a fight because she's already emotional.
Yeah.
So the best thing for me to do is to listen and be understanding. And if I'm super smart, repeat back to her what she said so she feels like she's being heard. Right?
It's true.
There's probably a lot of guys listening right now. That's bullshit. Guys don't do that. Yeah, they do. Super smart guys do that.
When you get to this level, yep.
When
absolutely.
you get to, when you get to the level that we're at in our relationships, what's the point in arguing back? Just hear her out, right? Even if you think she's wrong. Oh, you're wrong. I mean, so not controlling your emotions leads to arguments with people because you're not emotionally intelligent, which is controlling your emotions, and you're not socially intelligent. You're just reacting. Like Andrew Tate says, what do you get? What do you get when people teach people that it's okay not to control their emotions? You get rapists and you get school shooters. I think he's right about that. Absolutely right. Prove to me that one of these school shooters was not an emotional person. Oh, yeah, Chong Wei over here that shot up Virginia Tech. That wasn't the guy's name, by the way. He was an Asian guy. And I'm not being racist. But he was a very straightforward, stoic guy. No. Every person that does something heinous like that, they're out of control of their emotions because they weren't taught to control their emotions. Sorry, man. I didn't mean to talk so much about this. Those are the big three for me. Emotional control, emotional intelligence, same thing. Social intelligence, which is communication. And the third one would be like just learning as much as you possibly can in a short amount of time as possible. So I see our brain is like a sponge, right? If you fill it with good information, the information that you're not using or that doesn't benefit you is automatically going to go out the back door without you even knowing, right? Mm-hmm. It's just going to disappear.
AKA the butthole. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so they say 70% of Americans read one book per year, and something like that. And 70% of them are romance novels, which means American people are not reading books and educating themselves.
Yeah.
So the average CEO reads 3 books per month, right? The average millionaire CEO reads 3 books per month because they know that information is power. So what I recommend to people, younger people who are looking to prepare for the future, order as many books as you can on Amazon. If you hate reading, get Audible and just listen to books while you're taking a dump, while you're putting on your makeup, while you're brushing your teeth, while you're driving, while you're walking into the job. Let's say it, like my job, takes 5 to 10 minutes to get to the actual job site. Mm-hmm. Put some headphones in your ears and listen. So I can kill an 8 or 9 hour book in 1 week, right? So plugging as much information, and let me say, information that is related to the goals you are trying to reach. Set goals in your mind and get as many books as you can on those goals. Try to pump 2 to 3 books a month in your brain. And what you're going to realize is you have so much information in your brain. When you're interacting with the right person who can do something for your life, you're going to be able to reach into your brain and pull that information out, use it, and look like a very smart and valuable person to that other person. Whereas if all you do is read romance novels or you don't read any books, you're just going to be a dud in that moment. You probably won't even be in that situation to be talking to that person in the first place. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to be like, oh, I don't know. You ever see TikTok? You know. So,
probably be a sucker that gets swept off your feet by any person that walks through the door.
Control your emotions, learn how to communicate, learn as much information as you possibly can. Never stop learning information. The more you learn, the more you earn.
Knowledge is power.
So, I over-talked on that one. I apologize. What you got?
How much time do we have left?
Let's just keep going.
Okay. Because it's going to be a long one.
It's okay.
All right, so
we still have another 20-something minutes. Oh, wait. We started at 5, right? Yeah, we're good. Keep going.
Okay. Your favorite movie character and why?
Ooh. I like, I think his name's Matt Graver from the movie Sicario. Nobody knows exactly what he does. He works for the DOJ, and he's an advisor. First time she sees him, he's in an office with the, who does she work for? FBI, CIA?
FBI.
She's FBI.
Mm-hmm.
And he's wearing sandals. And he's just laid back in his chair. And somebody's asking, who's that guy? They're like, I don't know.
Yeah, because he's CIA.
You never know that.
No, they tell you at the end.
Well, the reason I like this character so much is because he has a lot of traits that I try to work on in myself. And I see him as who I ideally would like to be. He says only what has... I talk too much, right? He says only what needs to be said. He controls his emotions, no matter how bad the situation is. He thinks clearly, controls his emotions. And he never really gets upset at other people. He's good at communicating.
That's true.
It kind of bounces back to what I was talking about. So, like, when she's like, this is our chance, and she goes in the bank, and he real calmly, don't go in the bank, Kate. She goes in the bank, and then later on, that dude finds her, and he's strangling her. Mm-hmm. And then it shows Matt Graver in her kitchen, and she's holding her neck, and her neck's all red, and the band is on the counter. And he's all nonchalant and laid back, and he's all, told you not to go in the bank, Kate. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, this is good news. He's all happy. He doesn't care that she just died. He's all, oh, this is great news. They're going to be sending Manuel Diaz back to Mexico. We're going to find out where the boss is. You should be proud of yourself. And she just had the worst experience of her life, and he's keeping his head on straight and keeping his eyes on the target. Nothing rattles this guy, and he doesn't reveal too much information about himself and what he's doing. He stays focused on the job. So a lot of things that I think I have weaknesses with, I think what do you call that when you cast? What do they call it? Whatever. There's a word that people use for when you, like they say parents do to their kids. I don't know the right word, but...
They live through them or what?
Yeah, something like that, but it's called something cast. But there's somebody watching this video right now that's saying the word, and they're like, you idiots. But
when you live vicariously through somebody?
No, it's like where you see traits in another person that you wish you had, or you see traits that you have in another person that you don't like about yourself, so you take your anger out on that person. Projecting, yeah. So, like, I kind of project some qualities and traits I wish I had, that I wish I was better at. And I admire him a lot because of how he carries himself. That's my ideal type of way. So that's why I like that character.
Yeah. Well,
you?
For mine, I would have to say it has to be Gustavo Fring from Breaking Bad. Just because that guy is so... He's ice cold, man. And he is like not even human, it feels like. He's just almost like a robot. Like he knows how to talk to people. He knows how to turn it off and on. You know, that's the main thing too with him. Is he knows when
he's not rattled by other people.
Yeah. And he knows when to be vicious when he has to be. And he knows when to put on the smiling face and be like, how can I help you? You know? Play the game and all, and then he's always coming out on top. He is the ultimate chess player. I mean, besides Walter White, because Walter White did get him, but if he didn't figure out that one way to get him, you know, who knows?
Where his face is all hanging off.
Yeah,
that's a good choice. I like that.
Yeah, he's always. I always look forward to seeing him. Whenever I rewatch the series, I always look forward to seeing him when he comes.
So, would you say he had like a side hustle? Yeah.
The ultimate side hustle.
What was that? What was the store he owned?
Los Pollos Hermanos.
Yeah, it's like a chicken place, right?
Yeah.
So that leads us to our next question. Do you think side hustles are dumb or smart? Maybe that's not the best way to phrase it, but what do you think about side hustles?
I think they are great at being emergency, temporary work. However, I don't think that people should be stuck in side hustles longer than like 3 months.
Well, would you call this a side hustle? We both have jobs. We both do things.
Okay.
And we have long-term goal. We have a long-term goal.
I guess so. But when I think of side hustle, I think of DoorDash because I did that for a little while.
Oh.
I think of,
okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
So you're thinking of quick little make a couple bucks here and there type of jobs. Yeah. Oh, like making T-shirts and little things like that.
When people say, oh, it's a little side hustle I have, you know, I'm thinking, okay, well, obviously there's nothing long-term in it. I mean, I wouldn't really consider this a side hustle. I consider it more of
an investment.
You know, something I enjoy doing.
But so it's something like, we're doing on the side. Yeah. We're not making money from it yet. But
yeah, we're definitely not. But it's something I have always wanted to do. So a side hustle to me is something that you have to do right here, right now until
to make
something
a couple
else
of
comes
extra.
up. Yeah.
Some walking around money.
Yeah. Gator. And what do you think about side hustles?
I think if your life is in a position to where you feel like you need a side hustle to make more money, I think you should take a hard look at your job and start figuring out how do you make more money? How do you get a raise? I've never been a big fan of getting raises. I'm more of the type, quit your job, find something better. Where you can, there's a saying, hire for attitude, train for skill. And for some reason, I always knew that from a young age. And when I say young age, I mean like 15 years old. I just knew if you had the right attitude, it doesn't matter what the job was. Just tell the person, hey, I'm willing to be here when you need me to be here. I'm willing to learn anything you need me to learn. And I guarantee you I'm just as smart as these other guys you got out here. The only thing they have on me is they're trained and I'm not. So train me. So I've had opportunities where I got from one job to another, I got a raise of like $15 to $20 per hour. Raise. Just from showing up and saying, look, I know that I don't know how to do this job, but give me a chance. If I miss a day or I'm late or I screw something up, you could fire me on the spot. And then I do a handshake deal and they say, you know what? I like that. And they hire me. And then I show up, I take pictures, I take notes, I do everything I need to do to learn that job, and I become good at it. So, sorry, I'm all burping on camera. My bad. I was eating some lemon Oreos. So, if you're at a point in your life where you need to do a side hustle, try finding a higher paying job. If for some reason you don't have that kind of confidence and you can't find a higher paying job, then what I would say is before you start a side hustle, or if you start a side hustle, start reading books and watching videos and educating yourself on the people who are doing that thing that you're doing on the side, the ones who are making the most money or getting the best results or whatever. Figure out what they're doing and copy them exactly. And then figure out what they're doing that you think they could be doing better and incorporate that into what you're doing to try to turn your side hustle into something that makes more money than your regular hustle or your regular job. That's what I think. So I think side hustles are smart. I think side hustles are dumb. If you're too lazy, you're just scared to quit your job because you're comfortable and you're not brave enough to quit and try to learn something else, then I think a side hustle's stupid because you're doing it because you're a wimp. But it's smart if it's something that can turn into a lot of money and you're smart enough to keep your regular job and do your side hustle on the side and keep investing until it grows. Next question.
So what benefits people in life, and what benefits people in life that they don't teach in school?
Kind of back to what I was saying earlier.
Yeah. I think we already went over that.
I don't
so
think they teach you emotional control in school.
Definitely
I never
not.
learned it.
Yeah, definitely not.
They don't teach you advanced, high caliber communication in school, right?
That's true.
I remember learning how to type, balancing a checkbook, things that have helped me in my life. I don't really balance checkbooks, but things that are applicable to outside of school life. Best thing I ever learned in school was learning how to type, right? Because I've written a couple of books and I wrote them fast because I type like 90 words a minute. So balancing a checkbook. And other than that, I don't remember learning, and learning Microsoft Excel, learning how to do formulas and stuff. I've used a lot of Excel spreadsheets in my lifetime to organize information. But emotional control, high caliber communication, which is also known as social intelligence, and I guess entrepreneurship, learning how to make money on your own without having to work and sacrifice your life for another person or company. They're not teaching that in school.
Yeah.
What about you?
I would pretty much say all of that. I would just tack on to their buying a house, how to buy a house, how to buy a car.
That is a very good point.
Because they don't teach you how to buy these big things.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and teach you how to negotiate.
What's MSRP, all this other stuff.
Teach you how to negotiate prices.
Exactly. That's where it goes back to negotiating as well. And if they did if they even
relationship skills, not relationship as in dating, but relationship as in communication between you and another person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, relationship.
Negotiating is relationships. Building a relationship is a big part of negotiating.
Mm-hmm. Negotiating, or if you want to call it something else, what is it again?
Selling.
Well, yeah, selling.
Negotiating is selling. You're selling your side of the equation.
Yes. I was going to say
haggling.
I can't. The word's like on the tip of my tongue. I just can't get it there.
We'll be back. We'll take a commercial break.
No, it's compromise. There you go. Compromising.
Ooh, compromising, yeah.
Because I feel negotiating is also compromise. And you know,
absolutely.
And I was just thinking of this too.
Intelligent compromising.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to emotional intelligence and all that, right? Negotiating is kind of at the key of this thing too, because, or at the center point of it, because when you're negotiating, you know what you want. This person knows what they want. You guys are you're keeping your emotions outside of this, right? Mm-hmm. And you're being realistic. You're being, okay, well, this is why I think I deserve this. Okay, this is why I feel I need this. Okay, how do we get there? You know, and then you start moving closer to what you both want. And it's compromising / negotiating. And emotions are out of it.
Yeah, so emotional intelligence is also knowing when to turn them off and leave them completely out of the picture.
Yeah.
I like that. Why are eggs, bacon, and orange juice the symbol of like the American breakfast? Why do Americans, for the most part, eat that for breakfast?
Short answer, because of a couple of guys that were really good at marketing and selling it to the American public, who this is back in early 1900s when this happened.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, hold on.
It had to be 1800s.
Yeah, it was probably 1800s. No, it was around that time, because people, okay, this is, see, and I wish I had all the facts. I wish I would have wrote this down. But anyways.
Dude, we're not even recording. No, I'm just kidding.
So it all goes back to Edward Bernays is the reason why Americans eat bacon and eggs for breakfast. Now, the orange juice, that belongs to somebody else, the reason why we drink orange juice for breakfast. But both of them have the same thing in common, and that is that during this time so for the bacon and eggs, it was a Beech Nut Packing Company was trying to figure out a way how to get Americans to eat bacon because they were just losing
too many
money.
pigs.
Yeah, I think they had too many pigs, or they just had a problem selling the bacon. They didn't want to lose all of their supply, right? So they go to Barnay's. Barnay's specialized in human psychology, and he was actually the nephew to what was it? Freud or no?
Sigmund Freud.
Sigmund Freud. There you go. I'm sorry. So it was his nephew, and he pretty much studied everything that his uncle, was talking about with the psychology stuff and everything. And this guy, Edward Bernays, became the founder of public relations. So what he did for the company, Beech Nut Company, packaging company, is he said, okay, I'm gonna find a way to sell your bacon to the American public. And what he ended up doing was he went, and there's actually an interview where he talks about this too. It's an old one, but he went to all these doctors, or he went to one doctor, and there was like the probably one of the biggest, most prestigious names at the time, and asked him, is it in your medical opinion, because at the time most Americans were eating coffee, or they had coffee and maybe a roll for breakfast. It was something very light.
Bread.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he asked him, is it your medical opinion that Americans should be eating a heartier breakfast because of the strenuous work that they have to do throughout the day? And he was like, as compared to what they were eating already, which was coffee and bread, or roll or whatever. And that one doctor said, absolutely, I suggest a higher calorie breakfast. Okay, are you willing to get 4,500 more doctors in your field to sign off on this as well? And he said at no cost. I don't know if I believe that, but he said, yeah, at no cost. Are you willing to get these other people on board, get their medical opinion also? And he was like, yeah, I'll do that. So he ended up getting all these doctors signing off on the same statement. And then they published it in the newspaper. I don't know if they did like a commercial or anything like that. I'm sure they did as well. And after that, they were saying, yes, eat bacon and eggs for breakfast because it has more calories and it'll help you sustain energy throughout the day. So that's how it was made.
That's where clogged arteries was born.
And we're still eating eggs and breakfast for the most part in America today because of that guy.
Yeah.
Orange juice,
I love
kind of
bacon.
same thing.
I just wish it was healthier.
Yeah, bacon's so good, right?
Turkey bacon is not a good substitute.
Yeah, I like pork belly also. That's not...
what the hell's pork belly?
Pork belly is the same thing, except just thicker cuts.
Oh, yeah, it's still bacon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That beer belly.
Mm-hmm.
See, I thought it was something like that, right? I thought it was maybe someone who had a farm and they started convincing, maybe they had a farm with like orange trees or something, and they convinced the whole community back in the 1800s that they should eat eggs and bacon, and it spread and turned into something. Maybe I thought it started like up in Delaware or something and just spread throughout the United States over 100 years or more.
Yeah. And the same thing with orange juice. It pretty much took the same route. Is California grew all these oranges and then the demand plateaued. And so they went to this guy, not the same guy, different guy. Actually, his name was...
They said, how do we get rid of all these oranges?
Albert Lasker is the guy that made orange juice a staple in the breakfast.
Nice.
In the breakfast table. Because, he wanted to get rid of all these oranges. And so he ended up inventing the juicer, like the actual ones where you can cut the orange and juice, make your own orange juice.
Yeah.
And at the time, there was I think a study that went and said that I don't know if it was a study, but it was acidosis was something that they kind of took and they ran with it. They said, okay, don't get acidosis, eat some oranges or drink some orange juice, right? Because it'll prevent acidosis, which after they continue doing the study found that orange juice had no effect on acidosis whatsoever, and it's a very rare disease. But by this time, everybody was already scared into drinking orange juice. So
basically, people were being bullshitted into eating certain things as they are today.
Yes.
So, you have a question?
Well, I just wanted to add that with more studies that they've done recently with orange juice and oranges in general, mainly orange juice, it's bad for you. It's got
the acidity.
No, the sugar.
The sugar.
Yeah, they said that like a glass of orange juice is equal to a soda, like cola.
But it can't be the same type of sugar.
No, but it's so jam packed with sugar that yeah, if you drink that like
I'm sure your body processes it in a much more natural way.
And actually orange juice today,
maybe eating oranges. You're saying orange juice like that's processed and made by companies, that type of orange juice, like, or you can make your own straight from a tree.
Even the ones that you made straight from a tree, it's got a lot of sugar in it. But the orange juice today too it's a Frankenstein. So it's even worse.
Dude,
than
it's
the original.
Like 10% juice. All the rest of it's just a bunch of filler crap for them to make money. That's why I don't buy orange juice or drink it. I haven't drinking orange juice in years.
I just stopped as soon as I heard that it had all that sugar. That's when I stopped. But my family still loves orange juice, but we don't buy it all the time. But yeah,
interesting.
So let's see here.
What you got lined up?
So since we're talking about health, is fasting better than the detox drinks?
What do you mean by detox drinks? I've seen one of them. I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, it's just like,
cleaning me out.
Yeah, whether they're the pills, I guess not really detox drinks, but the detox supplements, packages.
Like teas and stuff that you make to detox your system?
Yeah. I mean, they come in all kinds of packaging forms and everything, so.
I know that fasting, the reason it's done worldwide, Americans don't fast at all. The only fasting they do is fast food.
Yeah.
That's it. I know I don't know if people know exactly, but from the research I've seen, right, because I started experimenting with fasting maybe a year or two ago, and I went 48 hours without eating. Dang. And I had to tell my daughter not to tell my girlfriend. She would get mad. She'd be like, what the hell's the matter with you not eating for 48 hours? Are you stupid? So I just didn't say anything to her. But the reason the reason I started doing it was because I saw a video where this guy was having such severe back pain he couldn't walk. And so they went out to a beach in a van, and it said he's going to fast for 48 hours, and he's going to lay in this van and just drink water. And then it showed him 48 hours later, get out and start running around. And they started explaining the science behind it is that when you have too much food, I guess the simplest way of describing it is when you put too much food in your body's paying attention to that food instead of working on itself, right? So when you remove food from the equation, your body goes to work looking for areas that it needs to repair. So I know I sound stupid, but it has to do with the creation of more red blood cells, I think. But when you don't eat, your body starts repairing itself. It starts regenerating cells at a rate like 10 times faster than normal, right? Mm-hmm. And it starts healing your body. When you fast, your body heals faster. You have back problems and joint issues and inflammation. The inflammation will go away. And your body's able to heal itself much faster when you don't have food in your system. And I think it's because you're introducing so many chemicals and extra elements into your body that your body only has so many, so much room, so much focus, you know? So if your body's always focusing on digesting, God, I probably sound so dumb, but who cares? Your body's always focusing on digesting food 24 hours a day. You start to, and plus when you fast, your body cleans itself out. So it goes through, it cleans out the dead and damaged cells. You just have to research this on YouTube and do reading about it, but it cleans out the dead and damaged cells much faster and much better. Just detox drinks, I don't think it's the same thing. I think maybe it's good to do both of them. I think maybe it's good to detox first and then fast. I'm not sure, but I do know that fasting absolutely works. And my hearing got better, my eyesight got better, my sense of smell got better. I did start having aches and pains, but I had tennis elbow for months and months and months, and it never healed. And I did that 48-hour fast, and within like a week after, the tennis elbow was gone. I think it was because the area was always inflamed. When you have tennis elbow, you're always using those muscles, right? Everything you do. I think it was I was able to reduce the inflammation and speed up cell regeneration. It's called mitosis, cellular mitosis, and it was able to heal itself. And they say a lot of people who can't fix a tennis elbow try to fast for 24 to 48 hours. Your body heals itself. It's crazy. Cool. It sounds crazy just even saying it, but do your research. I mean,
yeah, I've actually been researching this for the past couple days because I'm trying to eat less and work out more. And so what I found is from Gravity Transformation, it's this guy I follow on YouTube.
Definitely caloric deficit will help you burn fat, for sure.
So what I like about Gravity Transformation, too, is this channel, he's always giving you the medical journal studies that... so everything he's saying is backed by science, medical journals, and all these case studies. So what they have found is from between 6 to 10 hours, your body uses up the carbs from your last meal. At 10 hours, your body produces HGH, which helps delay the muscle loss. At 16 hours, that's the golden one for me, is the body will start burning your stored fats for fuel. And autophagy also begins at that hour, which is what you were talking about, where the body recycles damaged cells. And then when you get to 24 hours to 32 hours, the body is now out of glycogen storages. And so it becomes completely reliant on burning fat storages for energy at this point.
That's called ketosis, right?
Yes.
Ketosis, yeah. Kind of the keto diet.
And muscle break, it's also noted that muscle breakdown is slowed during that time. At 48 hours, that's when you were talking about how you experienced everything was more, you were more alert, your senses were heightened. So that comes into play. And
the only negative side effect I experienced, right, from fasting for 48 hours, I started having severe body aches. And they say it doesn't hurt you. It's just that your body is, you have no nutrients or food in your body, and it started doing all kinds of crazy things. And I was having a lot of, where my kidneys and liver is, I was having a lot of body aches, but not like rolling on the ground, but I started experiencing a lot of aches. They said that's normal. You need to drink a lot of water and stuff, but.
Yeah. So after 3 days, that's when your muscles start eating themselves, essentially, and nutrient deficiency starts to emerge. So that's probably what you were experiencing at the 2 day mark.
Nutrient deficiency, yeah, that's probably what I was experiencing.
So I thought that was fascinating and
fascinating.
But yeah, it's definitely something I feel is. I mean, going back to the question, what I actually found researching it also is that they go hand in hand, and you're actually supposed to fast before you do a cleanse.
Ooh, okay.
So, yeah, the cleanse, essentially, the detox is just, everyone knows what that is, just pooping out what doesn't belong in your...
Cleaning your colon out.
Exactly.
Like
cleaning out. Yeah. A little scrubby dub in there, you know?
I saw a thing where this lady, she said she was addicted to colonics. I think they call them colonics.
Yeah, where they put
like
water in their butt and everything, or no?
I think so. Something like that.
I think that's
It was like
hydrotherapy,
my
actually.
strange addiction or something. And she was like addicted to colonics. She said it's so satisfying knowing how clean she feels. But eventually, right, you do too many of those, you're washing out all the good gut bacteria that you need. And it turns into a breeding. You can get infections and stuff.
Yeah, that's probably why it's
bad.
Not very popular. Because I've actually looked into that too, just curiosity, you know what I mean? Because I feel like I probably have a lot of stuff, and I mean, we all do. But
oh, yeah. Especially living in the city like we do.
Yeah, and I had a friend also that was telling me kind of the same deal. I mean, she wasn't my strange addiction, you know, crazy about it, but she did say that she had a good experience with it when she did do it.
She felt good afterwards. Nice.
Yeah. So I would just think if you did that, you'd probably have to eat a lot of probiotics afterwards.
Do you think like porn stars, the females, like they get that done before shooting some scenes? Or they just do like a
only if they're considerate and they're professional. But how many of those people can you say are considerate and professional?
So, okay. So let's wrap this thing up because we're getting over an hour.
Yeah.
Is Bud Light going to go extinct?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Simply because Bud Light is only like a finger, and this is Anheuser-Busch, right? So it's got other beers. It's Budweiser. There are so many that I like from Anheuser-Busch, and Bud Light is just one of them. I think it's going to be popular anytime soon, come back? I don't think so. But I don't think it's going to die either. I think it's going to come back one day, but it's going to take a while for people to forget. Maybe in a couple years. Who knows?
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll take a couple of years, but they will slowly start creeping their way back up because I don't know if it was finalized or not, but I know that the guy who sold Anheuser-Busch, the Anheuser-Busch heir who sold off the company, he's trying to buy it back.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that would...
And I don't know if they came to an agreement or not, but...
That would get back up on his feet.
He said their marketing's killing Bud Light.
Budweiser,
and
yeah.
Bud Light, and he wants to buy it back and fix it. So, I think what will happen is, I think another beer, several other beers will rise up, right? Because they're seeing this as an opportunity. A lot of people are making money in the stock market right off of other beers. So I think they will eventually come back up, but they're going to have to fight off the competition where they had no competition before because they almost were the king of beers. Is that Bud Light king of beers? No, is that
Budweiser? No, Budweiser.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, see, I don't drink a lot of beer, so I don't know. But I think it'll take time, but I don't think they're going to completely die.
I will say this, like, Bud Light doesn't really have much going for it. Even before that, to me, it was like piss beer, you know? It didn't really have a flavor that you're like, oh yeah, let me get some of that Bud Light, you know? The only thing I think people really drank it for was because it wasn't as heavy as Budweiser. Because to me, I love Budweiser. Shock Top, that's another one from Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light, I was never really crazy for, but that is the brand that you can find everywhere.
The only thing that could kill it is before all of this stuff happened with Bud Light, a lot of mom and pop distilleries are popping up everywhere, making their own brands of beer, and I think they're pushing even harder now.
Yeah.
Because they see that the people at the very top can get toppled. So I think as time goes, eventually you won't have as many people sitting at the very top by themselves. It's going to be a more evenly shared market in the future because of people's ability to make their own beer now.
Mm-hmm. I will say this. I'm starting to see a lot more Yingling. I've never tried it personally, but
yeah,
I hear it's pretty good.
It's from up north, right?
Yeah.
It came down to Texas like 2 or 3 years ago.
Really?
And it was a big deal. Everybody was talking about it. And then you have these people who they want to always show everybody that they're doing the most modern thing. And they're like, oh, I only drink Yingling now. So.
Killing them Yinglings, you know what I'm saying?
So, yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
All right. Number 7 is in the books. We're having to, just due to timing issues, how long it takes to produce these podcasts. Now we're trying to be more organized now and trying to get through it quicker. So
all right.
We will see y'all on number 8.
Okay. Hope y'all enjoyed the content.